Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of a very interesting watch. This is the Gallet Heritage Chronograph. This is the new watch from Gallet. Gallet is an old name in watchmaking. Hasn't really been around too much lately. Gallet, I believe, is actually run in America, even though this is an entirely Swiss-made watch, 100% Swiss-made, as they say. And Gallet worked very closely with Vaucher, which is a movement maker, and a company which is a supplier in Switzerland, is a pretty good one, to develop a movement in the case for this watch, which is unique and distinctive for Gallet. So this is an interesting timepiece in a lot of ways. So let's just look at the watch first. We have a racing style chronograph that is directly inspired by some historic Gallet timepieces. With a couple of new additions in terms of the design. I'm just sort of giving you an overall look at the watch. It's 40.5 millimeters wide, so it's very versatile in terms of its wearing comfort. Steel case, very good quality case, very nicely polished. There's this use of hex screws as opposed to spring bars between the lugs for the strap to secure it. Porthole style alligator strap, which is very nice. And overall, just a classic look. There's a lot of details to talk about here. I'm not going to be able to go into all of them in the video, so the written review will have more. The first thing you need to look at, under the Gallet name, it says Premier Chronometer. What is a Premier Chronometer? Well, Gallet created their own chronometric standard, which they say is higher than Kosk chronometer. And it's very similar to some of the things that like Rolex and Omega will do, where they have their own sort of in-house standards, so a little bit different. The Premier Chronometer standard takes a few days, and it tests the movement inside of the watch, unlike Kosk chronometer certification, which tests the movement outside of the watch. And they claim accuracy within about 2 seconds up or down each day, which is pretty good, and that's much better than Kosk chronometer certification. They wanted to make the perfect racing chronograph, and one of the things that is part of that is really getting all the proportions and everything correct on the dial. They talk a lot about making sure that the tachymeter scale is on the inside and not the outside of the bezel, and that hand proportions and everything like that are ideal, and they really are. One of the things that is a little bit challenging for me is the fact that the hands are skeletonized, or open as they call it. So you see the tips of the hands have loom on them, and the rest of the hands are skeletonized. And that's a design decision that Gallet says is related to being able to read the chronograph hands pretty well. And the good thing is you can see right here that the chronograph subdials are indeed very easy to see. In fact, they even created a new pusher system that when you push it, there's a very nice, precise feel. It's a really, really nice. The chronograph pusher action on here is very good. I might even say it's better than the action on some of the better, like Grand Seiko watches, for example, on the spring drive, which has a really nice chronograph mechanism. So this, I don't believe this is a vertical clutch for the chronograph. I think it's a horizontal clutch, but the system works so nicely and precisely. If you're a chronograph fan, you're really going to have a joy of using the chronograph. The movement is produced by Vaucher, but apparently has a lot of special features for Gallet. It's a 4 Hertz movement, and it has a new balance wheel, which they claim is extremely lightweight, and that lightweight helps in sort of overall chronometric performance over time. The lighter weight the balance wheel, the better performance, because that means that moving the watch in different positions won't really affect accuracy as much. There's a new rotor design, which they say is ideal and allows for the best winding it's on ceramic ball bearings. It's got 2 mainspring barrels, which isn't designed for maximum longevity. It's 50 hours of power reserve running at 4 Hertz, but they say the 2 mainspring barrels in this case is more about offering consistency over time. So as the power winds down, the rate results are supposed to remain the same, which is really, really important. Some other little features in the movement, which Gallet developed in tandem with Vaucher. And I think the partnership worked really well because the watch is really nice. water resistant to 100 meters, and they make a big deal out of that because they say that it is water resistant to 100 meters without, I think, the screws in or something like that. Now the screws are interesting because the case construction is unique. So you can see there's 4 screws here, and the screws actually go all the way through the case and attach the bezel. So most of the time those screws are just there to hold on the case back, but in this instance the screws go all the way through to the bezel, and that means there's dual gaskets. There's a gasket in the case back as well as under the bezel, which Gallet says greatly enhances water resistance and overall durability. So for them it was really about making the best made watch with a cool movement that has some new stuff that is very pretty, that of course you can see. 100% Swiss made. Lots of neat little features in here. They just wanted to make it as high performance and effective a tool watch as possible. And I think they did a very good job. I guess one of the issues is that when you see a watch like this, you don't necessarily know that. There's a lot of little things in here that go into appreciating the timepiece that you would be ignorant of unless you knew these stories or you happen to know the watch. And Gallet is a brand that is, still pretty niche in terms of where it's at today. So you wouldn't know a lot of these things. So you would just say, oh, that's a nice classic looking chronograph. So this is a nice classic looking racing chronograph. I quite like it a lot. But all the little secrets in there are sort of things for the owner or things for people on that in crowd. And that's something that a lot of watch lovers appreciate, is having something that is, its specialness is known by only a select few. Other people feel that, well, if I'm spending a lot of money on a timepiece, I really want more than just a few people to know about it. So it really depends on your taste and your style of a collector. I'm a big fan of this watch. I don't have any complaints about it aside from the hands. You know, the vintage version of this dial, it's not exactly the same, had the full hands, right? Meaning you could see the hands easily. And this one, like I said, Gallet made the specific design decision to strip away the middles of the hands in order to make it so that you could see the chronograph. And it's true. With the hands being away, you do get to see the chronograph subdial hands a lot more easily. But like I said, there's also the issue there of making it a little bit more challenging in order to read the time. It's not that big of a deal, but it's something to think about and asking yourself, what your tastes are. Price for the Gallet Heritage Chronograph, which is a limited edition of 500 pieces, is $12,500. It is a good value for what you get. There is a lot of watch in here. There's a lot of development. There's a lot of new stuff for 100% Swiss-made watch that is not, especially at this level for what you get, I would not call that too expensive. But in the scheme of timepieces of this style, yes, that is an expensive price. But when you see it, don't be shocked because there is a lot of watch for your money in this. Again, this is the Gallet Heritage Chronograph, limited edition. You can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.